You're welcome once again to another beautiful edition of our program, Focal Point. Today promises to bring you a scintillating, exciting, insightful, educative, and moralistic discourse. Our area of discourse today is tagged Youths and Relationships. Youths and Relationships. I remain your anchor, Mrs. Oyekemi Ajala Oshudugbe. I pray that as you listen, watch this program today, you shall be blessed in Jesus' mighty name. I would also like to say that as you watch, please do not forget to share, to comment, and to subscribe and love our programs on our various editions and various titles, and help us share on our social media handles. Thank you very much. This program is powered by Ignite Online TV, spreading the good news around the world. And this medium is going to bless many lives, even beyond our wildest imaginations. God bless you as you listen and watch us on air. Firstly, we are focusing, our area of focus today is on preteens, teens, adolescents, and the young people. What I mean by young people, I mean the young fathers and the young mothers. And as I continue, as I further on, I would like to bring these posers to your understanding. Let us review or bring to our focus these various posers. What is relationship for youths? Why are relationships important to youths? And how do we teach the youths about relationship? Furthermore, how can we build healthy relationship amongst our youths? Now, let me start by saying that the youths are people. I discussed this in my earlier programs, editions, about who is a youth. So we don't need to go into that. Just let me give you a reminder. Energetic people, the youths, that they are not underage. So though we have various stages of youths, the preschool, the toddlers, the preschool, the teenagers, the tweenies, and the adolescents, before we come into the young adults. Now, when we are talking about relationships, in fact, many youths would like to agree with me that good relationship keep us happier and healthier. And furthermore, there are three big lessons about relationships. Firstly, it promotes social connections. And social connections are very good for every youth and for every individual. Number two, it curbs loneliness, because loneliness kills. So everybody needs companion or friends, or what we call friendship. Number three, people who are more socially connected to families, to friends, and to communities are happier and physically healthier, and they live longer rather than those who are less well connected. The sad fact is that at any given time, more than 1 in 5 people will report that they are lonely, and we know that One can be lonely in a crowd or in a marriage. So if it's just the number of friends you have, or whether or not you are in a committed relationship, the quality of your closeness matters, and the quality of you being close in to that relationship is what matters. So it turns out that living in the midst of conflicts is really bad for our health. A conflicting relationship can be very, very dangerous to and can cause health hazards. High conflicts in marriages, for example, without much affection, turns out to be very bad for our health, perhaps worsening or worse than getting divorced. And living in the midst of good and warm relationships is protective. Good relationships don't just protect our bodies, they protect our brains. Our brains functions well when we are in good and warm relationship. They protect our brains. It turns out that being in a securely attached relationship to another person is protective, and you are socially connected, and people who are in relationship where they really feel they can count on the other person in times of need, those people's memories stay sharper longer. Now, there is a big difference between falling in love and being in love, and there is quite a big difference between infatuation and falling in love. Now, I'm focusing on the things in this segment. Tips for building, the first segment is tips for building healthy relationships with our teenagers. Tips for building healthy relationships with our teenagers. Being a teenager can be tough. We all know that, because the teenager is growing into an adolescent and into a young adult. But it can become easier as well when adults can take steps to strengthen the relationship with their teens or teenagers, like the parents, like the teachers in the teens' various schools, like school managers, like, especially when I talk about parents, I'm talking particularly or specifically about mothers. The grown-ups, like their siblings, the general society of families, and the community at large, that is the society where the teens find themselves. And we can also include our religious leaders. When teenagers are in the midst of all these people, they learn better, because we have experiences and we have handled life in our various experiences or life's ordeals. Number one tip: the parents should be honest and open. The mothers should be transparent enough to talk to their teens about dating and sexuality. Thank God, sexuality education is being introduced in our various curriculum, in the school's curriculum, and in our various schemes in our various educational institutions, especially at the primary or the secondary school level. And that is where they really need it, because they will grow into it. Whatever they learn there, they retain. They retain and they interpret before they evaluate. Research has shown that the more open and honest you are with your child, the more communication there will be about the subject of dating and sexuality. We don't need to be too harsh or too rigid. Let's be flexible. Let's be friendly. In as much as we are using fairness on one hand, you can use friendliness or friendship on the other hand. Be warm. Let the warmth and friendliness and firmness goes a long way in checkmating our teens. So the more communication there will be about the subject of dating and sexuality, the more close you are to your teens, the more they would come out of their boxes and their shells. They will be more palatable. They will be more relaxed to speak about what they are going through in their schools, in their communities, in the society, or wherever they find themselves. So they come out from their shelves, they come out from their boxes. They are free. The freedom is there to tell you about their lifestyle. Parents must teach their teens about sex at home. We must teach them about sexuality education, or else the world will teach them the wrong thing. The world will teach them what is not if we don't teach them the rightful attitudes towards dating and sexuality. Richer discussions about dating and sexuality are one mechanism by which a better quality parent-teen relationship influences adolescents or teenagers' choices to delay sexual activity until a later stage when they are ripe for it. Richer discussions means includes messages about your attitudes and values about sexuality education, advice given, and warnings about potentially negativities of teenage sexual activities. I could recollect during our growing years, in our formative years, I would say in our teenage years, whenever myself and my twin sister and my elderly ones, whenever we were going back to our boarding schools then, my mom would always tell us, come guys, remember the sons and daughters of who you are. By this piece of advice, we were able to checkmate ourselves. We were able to realize that getting close or getting very close to the opposite sex or glued to the opposite sex will get you pregnant. That was our view then. With our views and opinions of what our mother used to say then. She used to say, don't be close to any opposite sex. And in reality, we went to girls' school. We went to a single-sex school. So we grew into that ideology or phenomenon telling us that we were thinking that even getting closer or getting close to the opposite sex will get you pregnant. That was our premonition or our misconception, I would say, at that particular period. So we were always very careful and watchful. Those pieces of advice got us on our toes, and we surmounted the challenges of adolescence. So let us teach our teens the rightful attitudes towards sexuality and dating in their growing years. God will help them. Number 2, be authoritative but not authoritarian in your parenting styles. Be authoritative but not authoritarian in your parenting style. Show an authoritative, not authoritarian parenting style, which involves a combination of warmth and firmness. Though you will set high standards, you must have your set standards. You must set boundaries and have high expectations for your teens regarding their behavior, and enforce these standards with consistent discipline. According to a psychotherapist, an American psychotherapist, he said, success is a targeted effort guided by discipline. Discipline goes a long way in checkmating the teens. So we must enforce discipline. We must let them know these are the rightful attitudes, these are the social values that they must trail after. However, you should provide an atmosphere of acceptance and psychological autonomy where the teens views and individuality can develop freely. Respect their views and their individuality. Yes, you must respect their views. The teenagers have a lot of thoughts or ideas going through them, going through their memories. So they need to pour out their minds. And in doing that, let us receive them with warmth, at the same time telling them the truth of the reality of the matter. Number 3, think harm reduction, not zero tolerance. Think harm reduction and not zero tolerance. When it comes to a teen's experimentation with adult privileges, like substance usage, sex, romance, etc., it is unrealistic to assume that they will not experiment. Parents who try and enforce absolutes are often in conflict with their teenagers, and most often they are kept in the dark about their activities or privacy. When you are too harsh, of course, they will withdraw. They will say, I wouldn't know what mommy will say if I say this and if I say that. You know, they will surely experiment what we, the adults, are doing. You know, like I said in my previous episodes, I said we are role models. Our children look up onto us. So whatever we do, they will go and experiment it. But because there is an adage that says to be forewarned is to be forearmed. When they know these things readily, they will deviate from the negative attitudes concerning relationships. So parents that are too forceful or too harsh when they enforce absolutes, or when they enforce disciplines or high-handedness, or what they are too overbearing on their children, the teens are often in conflict with their parents, and they are kept, the parents are kept in the dark about their activities or their privacy. The alternative is to discuss choices and pros and cons of these newfound opportunities in a non-threatening manner, and obtain their understanding in advance of consequences for breach of trust. Convey to them that you want them to be safe. That's our target. We want them to be safe. We want them to be kept, not in solitude, not in solitary, but to be kept safe, to be kept in a self-consciousness or self-identity, to discover themselves in this kind of relationship where they find, in any kind of relationship where they find themselves. For example, pedophiles are everywhere. Pedophiles, they are everywhere. So we need to checkmate them against the pedophiles who just get attracted to the teens, or even younger. Let's say young ages, the preschool or the teens or the preteens. So we need to convey to them that they must be safe. That's our concern. That's our major concern. We want them to be safe and to be kept in a kind of a situation where they will know the right from the wrong type of people. So they must take personal responsibility for their actions. Use their own judgment, their own senses of judgment, and make their own choices. When it comes to choices, we would have told them aforetime that this is the way, walk therein, so that you will not get into a pit or find yourself to blame in the nearest future. That's the reason. That's the reason we checkmate them and we bring them to the knowledge of the truth about dating and relationships. Number 4, don't believe everything you read or hear. Don't believe everything. As a parent, don't believe everything you read or hear, maybe on social medias, on the broadcast or broadcasting or people's views or ideas about this topic, about this area of discourse. The media will surely have us believe that drug use, heavy drinking, violence, and underage sex are occurring at rates far greater than they actually are. Stories being fabricated all over. Stories being fabricated. The cock and bull stories, unbelievable stories here and there. So we need to be very careful. Exaggerated cock and bull stories in this debased or defaced society of ours, or the negative societal norms, just like I said about the pedophiles or the rapists. These misconceptions can lead to a sense of dread as your child approaches the teen years and may influence how you react to your child's behavior and actions. This is especially true if you automatically assume that they will become involved in high-risk behavior, especially the adolescent boys, e.g. the pedophiles who are hyperactive and may want to try new experiences. Make sure to get the facts and examine the misconceptions. The misconceptions you may have about your teens' behaviors and actions before you jump into conclusions. And number 5, monitor and supervise your teens' activities with parental sensitivity. We need to be sensitive as parents. We need to be close to our children, to our teens. Parental supervision is recognized as a key factor that can moderate adolescent problem behavior. Monitoring must be balanced with parental sensitivity so as not to become over-intrusive or unnecessarily invading your teen's privacy. So you can monitor your child's behavior simply by being present before and after they go out, for example, and asking a few simple questions in a neutral, non-accusatory tone, and leads to greater teen problem behavior, because teens may rebel and act out strangely to exercise their rights, e.g. sneaking out from their homes when you are too overbearing on them. It needs wisdom. God will help us. We have to use wisdom in checkmating their affairs in order not to intrude, not to be too intrusive in their privacy. So we need to be, you need to be warm at times, so that some of them, when they think that you are too harsh or too high-handed on them, they just sneak out of their home, of their homes, and never return, and that may be the end of such a child in that your family. So let's be very careful. They may sneak out from their homes to join a gang or a gangster or friends, or get into a hideout. That is exactly what we want to avoid. And number 6, accentuate the positive. Try to initiate positive, effective communication with your teenager whenever the opportunity arises. If you are experiencing conflict with your teen over rules, household chores, school or academic activities, peers, relationships, etc., talk to them about it, but also attempt to have positive conversations with your teenagers about other things that are bothering or that bothers them. You can have a tete-a-tete with them. You can have a one-on-one conversation. You can have you can attend to their privacy. You can talk to them proverbially. You can also give them words of wisdom. Words of elders are words of wisdom. So they learn from all these situations. So one-on-one conversation about the issue at hand, because there will always exist a conflict. Conflict does not mean that every interaction has to be negative. Actively attempt to build in genuine positive interactions throughout the day or week, so that your teenagers learns that you are unhappy with their behaviors and not with them as a person. It's their behavior we want to checkmate. At times you can use kinetics, or what we call body languages, to checkmate their excesses. So in checkmating them, let us be warm, let us be friendly, and as we are being friendly, they will come out and tell us all that they are going through. And number 7, I'm rounding off. Encourage your teenagers to be involved in extracurricular activities. Studies have shown that greater extracurricular involvement at school or in the community can have a positive influence on the academic achievement and pro-social behaviors of the teenagers, such as voting, volunteering in young adulthood classes, becoming a member of a youth organization, etc. Getting involved in games or sporting activities. Be aware that girls drop out of sports and other physical activities at an alarming rate when they get to high school. The reason being that they are pressured into believing that being athletic is not feminine. Speak with them about these pressures and why it is important to make your own decisions. And number 8, I'm rounding off. Number 8, encourage flexibility in gender roles and behaviors. Things are under considerable when it comes to pressurizing, too much pressure to conform to their peers or peer influences, and sometimes the family's influences and expectations as to what boys and girls should and should not do. Gender role rigidity is very high in the early to mid-adolescent years, with boys in particular, having a heightened sense of the importance of being masculine. You know, when it comes to male chauvinism, males would always say, our boys will always say, I should be number 1, I should be this, I should be that. After all, I'm a male child, and you know, male child in this part of our world is too much of a controversy. So no children, especially in some parts of Nigeria, no children are very domineering because of the nature of our societal norms and values, which gives preference to male children or male gender. Speak to them about these pressures and their views, and encourage them to recognize how some of their choices of friends, sports, their lives may be misdirected by fears of being ridiculed, overly aggressive and controlling behavior in teens. They are often signs of strict adherence to societal expectations, which can sometimes be inadvertently communicated by parents. Parents will always say, I mean some parents, be a man, you are a man, you are a this, you are a male. The gender inequality is very, very paramount in this part of our world. So they will say, tough it out, etc. Discuss ways to respond to teasing in a light-hearted manner. Teach them to have a tender heart. You know, ladies or girls are women in general, we are tender-hearted. So girls have a kind of a softness or soft spots in terms of decisions, or when it comes to hyperactivity or restlessness. Number 9, address any abusive or inappropriate language with a firm and clear language. Abusive language, vulgar languages should be should be discouraged amongst our teens. In today's world, it has become acceptable in the teen culture to swear and verbally abuse others like no other previous generation has ever done. And while parents can't totally prevent abusive or vulgar languages from their homes, e.g. in music, in TVs and other media, teens appreciate knowing their limits. Language is a powerful means by which teens control the actions of others, including dating partners, parents and peers, influences of their classmates. So be specially vigilant for expressions that put down others, no matter how innocent or jokingly they may seem, and point out what these expressions really communicate. When they are communicating in abusive languages or vulgar languages, let us checkmate them. Some will be saying olosho, some will be saying hook up, some will be saying all sorts of nonsensical or abusive languages. Let us always checkmate them. And number 10, as I round off, be an active participant to a point. That's a clause or a comma there. Be an active participant to a point in your teen's life. Know your child's interests. Believe in your child's dreams or passion. If he or she likes hockey or basketball game, take interest in their lives. Take them for a hockey game if you can. And if he plays, watch him play or watch her play. Don't criticize. If she likes opera, ballet dances, or whatever their interest, or drama, or a play, plan a day when you can be together with them to do something special or extraordinary. Praise them, be their cheerleader. Always encourage their positives and discourage their negatives. Sometimes do a special have a special influence on them, or if a movie comes on air that you both like, watch together, laugh together, and when they are trying to ask questions, be ready to answer them in the affirmative. Watch together. You don't need to be verbose or talk much. It is being together that counts, and it's meaningful. When you are together, you learn so many things about their lives, their dislikes, and what they have displeasure about. You know, they can trust you for better audience. When you give them healthy audience, they will go even beyond what you are expecting from them. So I would like to say here that being in relationship or youth and relationship goes deeper than what we can think. And I want to say that good relationships don't just happen. You have to protect yourself, and our teens need to turn out to be what God has ordained them to be. And when it comes to teenage relationship, we need to be very, very firm, and we need to be warm at the same time. At this juncture, I will say that good relationship counts in our social networking or social connectivity. So let us encourage our teens to accept the positives and deviate from the negatives when it comes to dating and youth relationship. So I would like to call it a day here, and I believe this my few explanation and comments will go a long way in shaping our teenagers or our teens the right attitudes to dating and relationships. Till I come your way again in the next segment of this discourse, I remain your anchor, Mrs. Ewekemi Ajala Oshunjigbe. See you in the next edition. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like or love our program on our social handles. Catch you later. Bye.